Youth IGF India Annual Forum 2020. And I'm really happy that all of you have been there and engaging constantly and actively since the past 2.5 days. So now we have a lot of questions, right? We have understood so many things, so many concepts, so many topics that we have been exposed to during these 2 days and today as well. So, but there are lots of questions with respect to the youth engagement that we all have. Like, what is this internet governance? Which has been clarified, but how do you engage in internet governance? So, what is the role that the youth play in internet governance? What is the difference that they can bring? Why should we engage and how do we engage, and how do we effectively contribute in internet governance? So these are some questions that through the panel discussion today we'll try and explore. Before we begin, I would like to give a quick introduction about myself and my journey through internet governance. So my name is Ihita Gangavarapu, and my journey actually started in my 3rd year of college through the Next Gen program of ICANN. So I'm sure all of you are aware of what ICANN is now. We did have quite an intense session on the first day of the IG ecosystem. ICANN stands for the Internet Cooperation for Assigned Names and Numbers. So this is where I got introduced to the entire ICANN ecosystem along with the multi-stakeholder model. So that gave me the exposure and the opportunity to meet other stakeholders, understand the platforms and organizations that are providing opportunities for the youth to learn as well as engage and contribute in internet governance. So later that year, I was selected as a fellow at the Asia Pacific Internet Governance Academy, also called IPIGA, and INSIG, the India School of Internet Governance. And these platforms and whatever all the topics that I learned and the exposure that I received through these platforms, it helped me in co-founding Youth IGF India. And later on, all of these exposures and the opportunities further helped me grow and understand that, okay, this is what I really want to do. And this is the area within internet governance that I can actually and effectively contribute. So when it comes to engagement in internet governance, right, so there is policy making, there are technological developments, there is standards making, bodies like IETF, the Internet Engineering Task Force, and we also have capacity building opportunities. So with the amount of use cases that we have with internet, the amount of applications that we have an immense, I would say, infinite opportunities that way to engage and understand and learn and contribute in this field of internet and its governance. So to discuss the opportunities that we have and the challenges that we as youth we might face when it comes to engaging in internet governance, we have our expert panel today to take the discussion forward. We have Ms.Noha, who is the Africa Group representative at the Youth Coalition on Internet Governance Steering Group, and is a senior storage engineer at Dell Technologies and works with Dell University Relations Committee. She was selected as an 2017 Internet Society Youth at IGF, the Internet Governance Forum, fellow in Geneva. And afterwards, she co-founded the Digital Grassroots with other fellows, which is a youth-led initiative to promote digital citizenship. Thanks a lot, Noha, for joining. Now we have Ms. Sukhmani, who is the Director of Citizen Engagement at WILAC, the Young Leaders for Active Citizenship. She is a development strategist and practitioner with extensive experience at the intersection of advocacy, policy, and active citizenship. She is a graduate from the College of Business Studies, University of Delhi, and holds a postgraduate degree in sociology. She learned community organizing from the Harvard Kennedy School under the mentorship of Professor Marshall Gantz. Thanks a lot, Sukhmani, for joining in today. What I would like to do, to begin, to start off with the panel discussion is if you could take 3 to 4 minutes to give your preliminary remarks on the topic, talk a little bit about your organization or your platform, and then we can move and we can proceed with the questions. So maybe we can start with Noha.
Thank you, Ihita, for inviting me to this panel and for the introduction. I'm so happy to be here with you. It's a pleasure. So yeah, for me, getting involved in the internet governance spaces became actually by coincidence. It was not planned. I applied to the Internet Society's Youth at IGF Fellowship. It was back then called Youth at IGF Fellowship. It's now a combined program called IGF Youth Ambassadors. And it was just the beginning. Opportunities opened up one by one, and I was able to have let me say, a great advocacy journey. And whenever you get more active in the internet governance spaces, the more you will get opportunities, the more you will learn more, the more you will meet amazing people and expand your network. So why is the youth participation important in internet governance? So youth are the main users for the internet. They're digital natives. They use the internet first, and then the other generations followed. So they are more aware about the internet issues and how to advocate for them and how they are directly impact them as well. So we need to hear their voices. We need to respect their views as well. And if you step in an internet governance related discussion or forum, you'll see most of the people on the table are not youth, if I may say. I don't want to be discriminative, but why youth are so intimidated and are not advocating for their local internet issues, or the issues they're seeing it as important during their online time. So we need to bring more youth on the table, and as well for having successors for these spaces. We need to bring the new generations in. I've attended several IGFs, and I've seen people from different ages, even teenagers, and I was so amazed by how they clearly describe the internet issues in their countries. So I hope we cover in this panel the importance of having an effective youth participation in internet governance, and the ways on keep participating and how to participate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Noha. Sukhmani, would you like to go next and share your preliminary remarks on the topic?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ihita, and thank you so much for having me and Vilac over here to represent our views and ideas and thoughts over this. And a great hi to everyone who's present here. And looks like from last 3 days, you have been having very, very interesting conversations. And trust me, I feel these are really important topics on which we should have a dialogue, deliberate, have a conversation, and even have a roadmap on where to take things ahead. To share a little bit about myself and my journey, how I entered the youth engagement space and the related internet governance spaces. Since my college days, I've been very much into activism and advocacy. That was like my preliminary steps into it, while at that time my path was not decided. By doing an undergrad in business studies, it wasn't the course of action that I continued with. I shifted gears and moved to sociology, and then eventually to advocacy. And with that, I got to work a lot with young adults and youth. And that kind of, I think, started setting that interest and curiosity to work with youth and youth related things. Like, as a youth myself, what is it that I care about? What is it that the areas that we should be working towards? And I think that curiosity still remains. Over the years, we all are kind of, our issues are also evolving, and like our solutions. So we need to have more perspectives. We need to have more approach. We need to have more youth at the center of it. Past 3 years with Vilac, I have gotten opportunities to work with a lot of youth from age group. We primarily focus from like teenagers 13 onwards and go up to like 30. Gives us a good enough scope to hear more, engage more, and have more conversations through our different interventions that we do at Young Leaders for Active Citizenship to learn more. And I think what is really important right now is to having youth at the center of any such discussion, because they are a very important stakeholder. Something that we have come to learn through our experience of programs is how it's a multi-stakeholder approach that we need to be using, and youth definitely plays a very, very key role over there. And also how things needs to be really, really inclusive. So I think these are two critical things and two critical lenses that we need to be kind of using in any kind of thing that we do. From my experience of working with youth, I think having that, addressing the part and acknowledging the fact that yes, it's a very critical question to ask, it's a very important conversation to have, is a great starting point. And that's what we try and do with our programs. I would love to share more about specifically things like counter speech fellowship that we do in partnership with Instagram, because I do feel that sort of a modeling and those type of examples have a great scope when we are defining kind of this space of internet governance. We are an important stakeholder, so is everyone here. Everyone's voices matter. So how do we kind of build that community around it? How do we build those norms around it? Because it can't be a top-down approach. It has to be a multi-stakeholder thing. So that is the area, I think, where we need to kind of, I would want to add more in this conversation.
That's really well said, Sukhmani. Thanks a lot. So actually moving forward, I would like to understand, what do you think are the issues and challenges with respect to the internet that affect the young generation? And also, what work do you think is being done in this regard? So we can start with Noha.
Yeah, I think everything that happens online affects youth directly. So everything that happens on social media, from spreading fake news to bullying and harassment to cyber attacks, everything affects youth directly because, as I mentioned before, they are the main users for the internet. So that's why youth can be the primary advocates for the internet, their local internet issues, and they will be the more aware on how to resolve these issues and what was the cause of it as well. So that's why we call for engaging youth to on the different levels to describe their issues, advocate for them, even get engaged in finding solutions for them.
Thanks a lot, Noha. Noha, could you also maybe talk a little bit about the opportunities that are
happening is, I had a
sorry about the background noise. Yes.
Okay. I think is it from our end? Okay. I'm just really sorry about that. Just a few opportunities that you can talk about for the youth when it comes to, with respect to the challenges, like we have, if there are any opportunities, where they can learn a little bit more about maybe fake news or get the awareness about, okay, if this happens, this is cyber harassment, this is where I report it. So if you're aware of any platforms and organizations, that's all.
Well, the engagement can be on many levels. The local ones, you can get engaged in CSOs, civil society organizations on the national level if they're advocating for a certain cause and to resolve a certain online issue. Like many CSOs are tackling now children online safety, online harassment or online bullying, content issues, localization issues. So they don't need to reach out to specific organizations as well. They can be the drive for change. They can start their own campaigns, their own collaborations with the others to attract the audience and highlight a certain issue. Like, for example, in Egypt, we had a certain campaign to reveal some major online harassment situations, and the harassers were caught by the police. So you don't need someone to grab you and assist you. You can drive the change yourself. On the global level, we have many big organizations offering trainings, offering fellowships on, so to help you on staying engaged in the space, or you can, there are many working groups working on several things, like and ISOC chapters, for example, are a good example to get started. So you can get, you can subscribe to the local ISOC chapter and check the projects they are working on, and if they're relevant to your interests. And I think it's a great start. And then there are ISOC SIGs. Maybe you can apply for an ISOC fellow. There are other organizations as well, APC, Access Now. You can follow them on social media and check the projects they're working on. They're very interesting. And even private sector also organize some internet health related projects like Microsoft, IBM, and others. So the opportunities are endless. Thank you. Ihita, are you there?
Sukhmani, yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello? Yeah,
yes,
hi.
I can hear you now.
Okay, great. So I just wanted to ask Sukhmani as to what are your opinions on and what's your perspective on the type of issues and challenges that the young generation face with respect to the internet. And since you also deal with a lot of Indian youth, so what are the type of debates and dialogues that you
I think
with respect to internet governance?
Yeah, I think your voice is getting stuck. But I'll share. So yeah, I totally agree with what my fellow Noha was sharing about how internet is a part of our day-to-day life. It's so much intrinsic to our lives. Like these days, it gets really hard to imagine, and especially from a perspective of a young adult or youth. We're growing in this world of internet, and that's like our idea of social. Unlike what it used to be years ago, is different. Everyone. So for the youth, the entire perceptions is developing on what we see on internet, or more closer to our internet for us is like a social media thing. So it's a day-to-day part of our life. We wake up to it, we literally sleep to it, and as such there is no escape to it, and this is a reality we are living in. So acknowledging the fact that yeah, it's an important thing to acknowledge, because we're spending so much of our time, and it varies individual to individual. Sometimes we take digital breaks and all of that, but the bottom line is that yes, we are spending so much of time. For any piece of information, we access social media, we try and see what are the trends, we try and see what other people are saying. So much of our own perception is being developed by what other people are saying, what opinions other people are sharing on the things. So it's quite important to kind of know the fact that it's the world where we are living in. We do hear fake news, but we don't know if it's fake news or not. There's a lot of misinformation, there's a lot of disinformation, but how do I identify one over the other? So where is that 1A as a consumer, as a young adult who's consuming, and even as my peers are consuming, I need to know that the information that I'm consuming, it might be true, it might not be true. It might be open to some interpretations. It might be polarized, or it might be a narrative that a lot of people are thinking. So the issue that we are trying to bring to light also is that as a consumer also, how do you become critical of things? How do you how can one start questioning anything that we are seeing, anything that we are sharing, or anything we are posting or cross sharing on any such public platform? Because whatever I share then goes on my feed. So it's important to have that critical lens, and that appetite to distinguish between, oh, this could be a fake news as well. Oh, I need to check. Maybe I'm using a fact checker for that. So how do we build on to that capacities? That side of the thing also we need to have in the larger dialogue and in the larger conversation. There is a need to have similar interventions where there's an equal capacity building happening in youth. There are educative programs. There should be immersive learning on that, which makes people aware, which makes people there is so much hate speech that we see. So how do I counter that? So counter speech could be an effective tool that people can start using also. So how do I build that awareness? How do I even advocate for that? Sharing from personal experience that advocating for causes is very important, because individual voice in the larger social media world may not matter. So the more and more voices you join, the larger community you make, that will be important and core to the solutions that we're even looking at building. So that multi-stakeholder approach is important. Having a community around it is important. Having that resilience, that having that appetite, that yes, there is something, I need to have that critical lens. We need to kind of look at it, not just what it is on the face value, and need to be a more aware and vocal citizen is kind of important, as we are no more just citizens, we are literally netizens. There are no boundaries as such. While we have local solutions, but we are more like a global citizens. We do consume a lot of news. So how do you bring in that lens is a very important kind of thing to work on. In India, with VILAC, we have been working with a lot of such programs where we try and build that capacity and that resilience with young adults, especially with the counter speech fellowship and programs and the likes. We do that. There are many such other organizations who are working on the cause. There are many such helplines like TIS, iCall and all of that, who are kind of, if you run into an issue, you can for online counseling and everything. Pragya, who was here in the last session, shared a lot also about digital well-being. That's another very important thing to look at, because that's also related, because there's so much of time that we spend. So that's another thing should be in our purview as we are having these discussions and interpretations. And on a closing note for that, counter speech really is something that's in our hand and can play a very, very important role, as we are kind of fighting with a lot of fake news and fighting with a lot of hate speech. Because countering these narratives is important, developing that perspective is important. It's important to bring light to the issues which aren't being talked about that much.
That is very true. Countering and then bringing light to the issues, because what internet, am I audible?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, okay. No, see, what internet gives us a platform where we can actually talk about these issues, and like you mentioned, bring the voices together and then collectively advocating for an issue, or representing and talking about maybe what the marginalized section might be experiencing, is something that the internet provides, and we should make use of that. Actually, I would say, Sukhmani, you've touched upon our next question as well in your answer, but I would like to hear from Noha as to what would be the methods and mechanisms that you believe are good to engage youth in internet governance.
Thank you, Ihita. So yes, joining a local internet society chapter is a good start, and applying for opportunities like schools of internet governance, which are, let me say, there are many schools out there now, that the local and regional ones. For example, we have the India School of Internet Governance, and there is I believe the APAC School of Net Mission also organizes a School of Internet Governance. There is currently a recently organized virtual school of internet governance, and it's open for everyone. You can actually apply for it. There are many rounds, upcoming rounds in the upcoming months. The schools of internet governance are important to acquire the knowledge and to meet people who are interested in internet governance. You can then start by attending an internet governance forum, whether it can be a local one, a regional one, or the global one. The registration is actually open to attend the first virtual global IGF. It will start tomorrow. So you still have the opportunity to register and attend the session. I think having all the events virtual this year is a great opportunity, and gives an equal opportunity for all participants, because there is no travel restrictions or stuff. So you can apply for fellowships, a fellowship to attend an IGF, a fellowship for attend the APNIC meeting, for example, to attend the ICANN meeting. ICANN Learn website is a good way to start to learn more about the ICANN processes and how to get engaged. And I believe for APNIC as well, there are many online courses to review. And you can get familiarized with the ecosystem of the internet governance. What are the available stakeholders? And to try to follow some examples for each stakeholder. For example, try to get familiarized on the efforts which is done by your government in this field, or what are the local civil society which are working on related topics, and what are the global civil society organizations which are interested in issues in India, for instance. And joining communities will help you to stay involved and to increase your participation and to have an effective participation, let me say. And giving back to the community as well is a great thing, like sharing your knowledge, encouraging more youth to participate. It will help you to have a step further in this field.
Thanks a lot, Noha. So I actually have a follow-up question, because this is something even I've experienced personally, I would say, that lots of us youth, right, because we are either young professionals or in college, most of us are in university right now. So when we want to engage and contribute in internet governance, we hold back a bit because we feel like, okay, I am from a technical background, I can't contribute in policy, or if I'm a lawyer, but I can't contribute because I don't have the technical skills. So we hold back. And when we want to contribute in, let's say, a multi-stakeholder conference at a platform, we have experts, we have all sorts of people, also all sorts of opinions and perspectives for the topic that is being discussed. So how do you think we should work towards and building that gap that most of the times we think we have, there exists? How do we work towards that, and how do we gain the confidence to actually step into it and start contributing in the proceedings and the white papers or any documentation that's prepared, and talking and raising your, sharing your opinions on the topics that are being discussed? So Noha, Sukhmani, anybody would like to take this question?
Yep. So there is no specific background you need to have to in order to start your advocacy journey or your activism journey in internet governance. I've seen people from media background, lawyers, even doctors, and you just your background is a solid start to start your advocacy journey. If you're a doctor, so for example, you can be more aware about how to advocate for e-health services, for instance. So you don't have to acquire the most complicated technical skills, but anyway, if you want to be more familiar about, for example, networks or how the internet works, there are tons of trainings, online trainings, which are free, so you can enroll and learn about it. It's not complicated, to be honest. And for example, you want to learn what is the IP and how was it invented, for example. It's a simple thing to learn. It's not that complicated, so don't get overwhelmed. And joining youth communities, for example, like the YCIG, the Youth Coalition on Internet Governance, will help you to keep updated on what to get involved in and what are the upcoming events you need to be aware of, or what are the latest updates, what are the latest in the internet governance space. So The Youth Coalition on Internet Governance is a great example of youth initiatives. We have the Youth Observatory as well, which is the ISOC for youth, digital grassroots, and there are many youth initiatives out there. I believe in APAC there is Youth for IG, so it's a great initiative as well. So joining these youth communities will help you to get more confident and more open for opportunities. I will share the details on how to join the Youth Coalition on Internet Governance in the chat after the panel.
Yes, please. Thanks a lot, Noha. Sukhmani, would you like to take the same question?
Yeah, sure, Ihita. Just to add to what Noha was sharing, like there is like for instance, when we talk about public policy or a field like that, there is no set career path or a trajectory which tells anyone that, oh, this is what you need to do to work in the field. And it's kind of something you build up basis your own experiences, your understanding of the policy issues. So again, on a thing like internet governance, there is no like set trajectory that you need to be an engineer or you need to do like a certain thing to work in this space. So it stems from someone's own personal motivation as well, and who are the people you are interacting with, or who are the communities you are working with. Or so like, you know, it could be an engineer or even a doctor or a designer or anyone who's into advocacy, open to, I think, anyone in any field. If you have interest, if you are curious to know about things, I feel if this matters to you, if you are curious about it, then one can easily find resources to kind of do it, meet more like-minded people and have interactions. To talk a little bit about the second part also, there are a bunch of things happening everywhere. If you talk about even at the local level, at the national level, or even at the global level, and with the pandemic and all the video conferencing channels open, I think it's become more than easier now to be part of these conversations that are happening globally. So that is one definitely a good way to kind of, you know, hear more experts talking. There is so much to learn from each other and see what are the interventions happening in the West or in the Middle East or in other countries or in the Southwest. What are we doing in that? There are a lot of, like, you know, on Internet Society and UNESCO, and everyone's doing a lot. There's a lot of research already happening. One can definitely kind of read up more on that and kind of connect on several webinars these days, but also can start writing. So there are many open platforms these days. Blogging is a good way to engage with people. So people have been using it to talk about India, like a lot of young adults. People write on, they have blogs on Medium, or we write on platforms like Youth Ki Awaaz, or other more specific to internet governance. So there are things like Digital Parliament, Janta Parliament. Now, on and often, a lot of these debates are being organized, which are more also from the policy lens. And this is a key topic to be discussed there as well. So there's a lot of intersectionality also when we talk about gender rights. That's where also we can talk about this, because everyone having equal access to the platform is quite important. When we talk about mental well-being now, we can also talk about digital well-being. This answers also one of the questions I think Dr. Abhishek Bhatia raised, is there is no one way to kind of include this in discussion. I feel wherever we are and whatever we are doing, this is an important lens for us to have. And it could be something I am discussing in my team, or we are discussing with like a bunch of people in a session, or maybe if you are an educator and you work with a lot of youth and young adults, or if you are a teacher, or if you are none of these, but maybe in whatever, if you are in some tech company or a startup, these are an everyday important conversation. And that's very important to at least get the starting of it. And then there are several online communities. There are a bunch of fellowship programs where you get to meet experts. I think where that helps is if you really, that's the course you have decided you want to really pursue and work more seriously towards it. That gives it a structural approach, and which is great. Like we run a lot of programs like policy. One of them is Policy in Action, where we give a very structured approach to policy. So anyone, any enthusiast, and it's like people from any background can be a part of it. So that's when we give a more structured learning and approach, and there you meet experts and all. So there's a bunch of these things happening also, and find tons of them online. A forum like this, I think, is super important to kind of build these conversation and give it a more structural lens and come up with a more scalable solution towards things. So yeah, so wherever you are, I think start with that conversation. It could be with your peers, it could be with your family. because internet governance is, I think we need to make it a very, very local and everyday thing so that people talk about it. It shouldn't sound like an alien concept, which is just like a very top level thing. It's our everyday thing where we are a part of it. Our teenagers are part of it. Our family, our parents are a part of it. So we need to talk about it and think about these matters like we discuss anything else in the home. So I think that's a starting point, at least. And then there are different steps and stages where people can take that.
Sukhmani, that's a very good point, that we're all involved in internet governance, and also whether we know it or not, we are affected, we are every day affected by the way the internet is being governed. So it's important that we do talk about internet governance and try and find a way to actually and to very effectively contribute. It's just not that you can either be a part of the discussion as an observer to have an understanding as to how the internet is being governed, but it's also very important that you start contributing in this domain. So we actually have a question in the chat, if we could take that. Dr. Abhishek Bhatia has a question. What are the career opportunities for early professionals in internet governance across the sectors that are influenced by it? How can we include the discussion of internet governance while working in our various respective sectors, such as health, education, gender issues, social development, etc.? Sure. So Noha, would you like to go first?
Sorry, Ihita, will you repeat the question?
Sure. So the question is, what are the career opportunities for early professionals in internet governance across the sectors that are influenced by internet governance?
So as a good start, the Internet Governance Forum is starting tomorrow. It's totally virtual. The schedule is trying to cover all the regions, so we'll probably able to attend some sessions which can be suitable for your schedule. So you just go to the website. I can share it here as well. Register and check the schedule, and just create your personal schedule with the sessions you're interested in. You'll find the session title and the description, and the sessions are in different topics. There are 4 thematic areas for the Internet Governance Forum: data, environment. I cannot recall the other 2, but there are 4 thematic
Trust
areas.
And inclusion.
Yes.
Yes.
So I truly believe you will find some interesting sessions, and there you can. There are also networking sessions at the IGF, virtual networking sessions. So it's a good opportunity to meet people and to ask them how they started to get involved in this space and what they recommend for you to get more involved. Please, I highly encourage you to join the youth communities, the Youth Coalition on Internet Governance, Youth Observatory. You'll find youth from all countries, all regions, each one with their different issues, each one with comes with enthusiasm, passion, to give more, to give back for this community and to help other youth to have an effective participation. So don't be shy, don't get overwhelmed. We were all newcomers at some point, so don't get overwhelmed at all. It will be a new comfort zone for you.
Yes, and that also provides us with the opportunity to collaborate with your fellow youth, because all of us come from, we have different type of issues and challenges that your country is facing or your community is facing. And sometimes, and most times I would say, there's an overlap. So you can always work with them and try and work and find a solution and come up with recommendations. So it's a great opportunity to do that. Sukhmani, would you like to maybe take the second half of the question, say, how can we include the discussions of internet governance while working in various respective sectors such as health, education, gender issues, social development?
Sure, I would love to. And I think that I shared like earlier, I'll just build upon that. Like these are like we need to make that beginning of including these in our very much day-to-day conversations, and not just like I'm saying workplace conversations, even the conversations at home with our friends or with our peers. because these are very important. And even if we talk about health, like for instance, during pandemic, you would have seen there was a lot of fake news also surfacing that, you know, consuming more garlic might help us kind of to not get COVID, or having warm water helps. Well, most of these things are maybe true, but they are not like scientifically kind of proven. So people may fall prey into these things. So even in sectors such as health, it's very important, even because on social media, to be able to identify what's fake news and what's not. So there have been a lot of youth driven, and I'd say even driven campaigns on social media. There's one such campaign that we also ran, where we tried to counter all the narratives and the fake news, which were not just on one thing. It was not just on health, but also on education and gender. Like for instance, with the pandemic and people started working from home and being at home more, there was like a unfair distribution of work basis people's gender, and a lot of families saw that. So how do we kind of bring that to notice so that people are conscious about it, people think about it? So it's and social media is a place where everyone is present, and with COVID, people started using social media more. So that was an effective way to start a conversation of gender on a real-time situation that we all were facing, and likewise on health. So there are, if we were to discuss things, there are many such ways, but you can always start and taking mini steps immediately on what you can do. There are several opportunities. People do engage if they're really passionate about things. People do engage in a volunteer capacity as well. So there are a bunch of such campaigns going on, both online and offline, more online these days, where people can volunteer. If you're really more interested, people can take up a larger sort of a leadership role over there, and, you know, get more people. There's a lot of knowledge sharing and building happening because it's open to a lot of interpretation and perception. You can build up of someone else's experience, and that's the idea of community we're building. There's a lot of elements, like even using arts for advocacy happening, because visual arts is a great medium to connect people, and it transcends boundaries and barriers such as language barriers as well. So even when we talk about things like social development, there could be different ways like these. There could be structured programs, there could be fellowships, there could be policy interventions, but at the same time, there could be a kind of citizen community being built together online, where we are talking about these issues. There's a lot happening. You can definitely check out more on our website as well, which is Young Leader for, I'll type in the website name as well. Keep updating several programs that we do, but at the same time, even what others are doing and happening outside. So you can see a lot of such things happening, but we would totally recommend, wherever one is, to start those conversations from there. And these are very important conversations to have. And once you join some online communities, you can always advocate more for these things and kind of ask these important questions and bring back the conversations from where it has started. Globally also, Internet Society is sharing a lot of stuff. You would find a lot of things over there. UNESCO is doing a lot around this. So you would find a lot of kind of things that are already happening. CBSE for like schools has launched a lot of curriculum wherein there are self-help and self-driven toolkits that are being used so that people can kind of build safer digital habits. And that's a good age to start. When you are still in the school, that's when you are accessing you're starting to access internet and social media more. So how do we build more safer digital habits? It's very important. And a lot of organizations these days are working on similar toolkits, which are now, you know, through CBSE or other such organizations and boards, we can intervene that into a school's curriculum. Likewise, there could be different things for like different age groups, but that's a good start also to have these conversations as early on in life. There are club models that are being explored in the schools where students regularly have a dialogue, have their experiences on what they feel about the things that they have faced. I think it's good to hear constant in youth, okay, what are the challenges they are facing when they are on internet or on social media. And once we have those larger challenges out, there could be like a solutions that could be worked towards. It can't be like a solution is coming without understanding what is the use of social media for the young adults. So it's very important to have that in mind, that our lives are dependent on social media as well. When we are doing that, what are the things we need to be aware of? And then having such toolkits, such programs, and those access points in place, so that it has to be a little bit more self-driven as well. I think building that appetite in citizens and netizens to consume such information, such toolkits available, such programs available, having that appetite and curiosity is also very important. So that's something I think where we'll be in few months down the line. That is an area definitely where a lot of organizations will be working towards, and you would see a lot of even career opportunities coming that way. And trust me, it's not anyone from any background kind of can do that, as far as you have that curiosity to kind of learn that nuance of the platform.
Thank you so much, Sukhmani. Maybe if you could share the links on the chat, that'll make it YLAC and all the organizations and opportunities that you mentioned. So we actually come to the end of the panel discussion. So I would like to share a few things, when you want to start off. When you want to start with your engagement, first of all, you have to understand what is happening in the internet governance domain. So for that is why we have Youth IGF India. That is why we have a lot of other communities and platforms where we want to talk about the current issues and challenges that are there and that fall under the internet governance umbrella. And so that you are exposed to all the verticals of internet governance, after which, based on your professional background, based on your area of interest, you can start building your expertise and finding, okay, this is the area. You can narrow down onto a section of internet governance where you would like to contribute. For example, I am really interested over time. It took me almost 2.5, 3 years to understand that I really want to get into, let's say, Internet of Things and cybersecurity. So that is an area that I personally would like to know more about. So once that interest comes, you can then join mailing list. You can join working groups of lots of organizations. And what happens is, even as an observer, you get to absorb and learn so much, till the point that now that you can now start contributing, you can start engaging in the discussions, you have the confidence to write and comment on maybe a paper or a documentation that is being circulated around. So that, I would say, is one way to go about it. So thank you so much, panelists. If you would like to share 1 or 2 lines as the concluding remarks, then we would really like that, and we can then proceed with concluding the panel discussion. Noha, would you like to go first?
Yes, I would like to congratulate you all for the past amazing 3 days, and for joining a new space, and for your passion and for your questions. I'm so pleased to meet you all here, and I hope we can meet in new spaces later, and in different events. And I believe that your passion will lead you there, and maybe you can organize some sessions later, or organize events maybe. So yes, I'm so happy to meet you all, and I believe you'll have an amazing journey in internet governance, and believe in yourselves and in your capabilities. Your passion will lead you to amazing places, and good luck. And
thank you so much, Noha.
See you at the IGF.
Yes, thanks a lot, Noha. Sukhmani?
Yeah, sure, Ihita. First of all, yeah, thank you everyone for this time, and also we wish you the luck in terms of the journeys that you are exploring. We hope that whatever we shared today is kind of helping us build your curiosity more towards things. And as Ihita and Noha was sharing, there could be several starting points to it, and as you explore, it'll be always good to critically think, when we look at any platform and with the number of users, these are very sometimes difficult problems to solve. So having a perspective where we are thinking from different lenses is important, like things what government can do, things that civil society can do, and things that we can do together. It can't be just one stakeholder doing. So thinking from that perspective will be very important. And second thing is thinking about scale, because if there is any solution we are working towards, we need to see how it can scale up, so be able to benefit a larger number of people. Otherwise, we'll end up having several small solutions, but rather we need to have a connected site. So having these two things will be very, very important as we go ahead in the conversation and, you know, take ahead our steps from here. I think, yeah, that's the note where I would want to leave this conversation.
Thanks a lot, Sukhmani. So, you know, what we are going to do at the YIGF, it's just not the annual forum that we look forward to. We're trying to create a community of young leaders in internet and internet governance. So over the course, you know, for the next year, we are going to make sure that any opportunity that we are aware of for you to learn and engage and contribute in internet governance, we're going to make sure that is shared all over our social media platform so that you don't miss out on the opportunities and you can further grow in this area and find out your area of interest to eventually contribute really, really well. So thank you so much, panelists. Thanks a lot for joining in today and for interacting with the youth. If you have any questions, participants have any questions, what you can do is maybe put it in the chat and we will mail it to our speakers. With this, we would like to conclude our last official session for the day. And now we can move on to the vote of thanks, and we have a couple of announcements to make. Thank you so much again.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Noha. Thank you, Ihita.
Thank you.
Okay, Priyanka, maybe we could move to the next slide. I think that's the last slide. Oh, okay. So this is great. Thanks a lot, Priyanka. So we have a couple of announcements to make. I just want to check with our group. Okay, right. So announcements with respect to we have two awards, two certificates that we'll be providing to our most promising fellow and our best participant for this entire 3-day journey that we have had. Tavleen, would you like to take over? Because I see quite a few messages and I think it's better if you'd like to take over this part of this session.
Right. Ahita, before we announce, do we have time to hear a couple of thoughts from the participants about the event, please? I would love to hear their inputs, how the 3D event panned out for them, with the expectations that you came in with versus what you actually experienced here. So could you please share a couple of responses?
Definitely. I think we need a live feedback session. So please go ahead.
They can unmute themselves, right?
Yeah. Interactive session.
Great. Anybody who wants to share their thoughts, their inputs? Rohit, you mentioned it was very well organized. Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit? What are you taking away from the 3-day event? Rohit, are you with us? Yes, he is, but I'm thinking he has an internet issue. Someone else, maybe Alan, Gokul, Raghu.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
Sorry,
Hello.
Rohit,
Yes.
go ahead, then we'll ask Neha to share. Please go ahead.
Okay. See, so when I heard about this Internet Governance Forum, so I was very skeptical what this is about because there was very long hours that has to be invested on this, and I actually signed up for 3 days. I wanted to test out for the first day how it will actually go, and the first day was pretty intriguing when I actually attended it. I thought, okay, let's give it a shot on the second day. And honestly, one of the sessions that I really liked was one based on the darknet. I guess it was taken by Rahul, if I'm not wrong. Rahul Sasi, his name is. Yeah, I've also sent him a LinkedIn request. pretty interesting sessions. So it was very well organized, the way the whole team was actually, taking care of it. There was not one point of time where a person was actually bored. I feel so. And a lot of questions also that were coming into minds. So I would actually like to congratulate all the organizing committee people to, put up a really good session. All you people. So it was really interesting. Very understanding. And I guess many people are, taking away a lot of new things which they can work upon to make, internet better. That's all.
That was our aim. I'm glad we were quite successful, Ahita. Thank you so much, Rohit, for sharing. Raghu, we had Neha next, and then probably Raghu can go ahead and share.
Sure. Yeah, again, same. A couple of months back, I had a chance to actually work on analyzing the PDP bill, and it was pretty overwhelming for me since it was first time I was doing something related to policy. So once I got involved in it, I felt that there is so much of knowledge that I do not have, and while scouting the net, I was all over the places, trying to understand which is the right place to gather gather more information so that I could be more qualified to work ahead in this space. And when I heard of the Youth IGF sessions, I went through the schedule, and that's when I felt, oh wow, this is one stop. There are so many sessions covering such broad issues, and so I can definitely say that whatever I expected, I definitely got a lot to take away from these 3 days. I really want to congratulate the entire OC team, and I'm very thankful that you guys, I don't know first how did you create this network with such diverse panelists and everyone, but yeah, I'm very thankful that I got to listen to all these people in one place in the comfort of my home. So I'm very thankful. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Neha. Either we'll just take Raghu's response as well. I think we just want to hear from him, and then I'll hand it over to you. Raghu, are you here?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Okay, so I'm just going to build up from what Rohit and Neha have already said. That first of all, congratulations to the entire team. It was an absolutely meticulously organized 3-day event, and even though it was packed to the brim with sessions and like a host of sessions, which covered from environment, dark web, cryptocurrency, and including a multi-stakeholder model, it didn't feel that much. It was just like so perfectly organized. And not to mention the great quality of speakers. And particularly, I want to highlight the committee's initiative of actually bringing the environmental theme into the foray. I think that was particularly like a commendable initiative. And lastly, I think I would say that along with the sessions, like even the chat was, I think, equally informative. Like going through the chat was, it actually was equally thought-provoking, I felt, like contributions by Dr. Abhishek Bhatia. And so it actually adds a lot of value to and a lot of takeaway. I'm actually taking a lot away from this 3-day event. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing, Raghu. Over to you, Ahita.
Brenda, I think we can take one or two more, if not feedbacks, any suggestions if you have, or if you would like to share anything, your takeaways from any of the sessions that you found were really interesting. This year there was this one topic that we felt like maybe taken up to more stress on the accessibility, affordability, and availability of the internet when we were having a discussion within the organizing committee. So, are there any topics that you think we might have missed out? And to add to actually what Neha was also saying, the entire idea is that since we are also youth, we are also in the same age group as you all are here today. So we're also trying to see if we can have a one-stop, like a platform that gives us all the information that we need, gives the exposure to everything, and then later on, based on what interests us, we start diving deeper into the topics. So I'm really happy that you did mention that we tried and we were successful, like you mentioned, in doing that. So thanks a lot, Neha. But yeah, and if there are any more suggestions or comments, or if you feel like we might have not touched the topic well, could have done better, then please let us know.
Yeah, I would like to go for this.
Yeah. Gautam, please
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. So internet related, this community, I think, is in India at least, it's a quite small community. I have been working for the internet since last, I think, 1.5 years, and quite a lot of people that were in the panelist. It was a eminent panelist that you had in these 3 days, and I earlier also I got the opportunity to work with and at least meet some of the panelists that have been here, but the way these sessions were curated, and the information that was, the topics mainly that were covering a wide array of things, and totally focused on the information, and even after being interactive. So I think that was great, and I would like to again, the same thing, congratulate the OC team. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Gautam. Thanks a lot for your feedback. Is there anyone else who would like to go, or are there any comments from the organizing committee? Maybe if the
I would like
Akash,
to.
yeah.
I actually, I'm Neha's brother, and it was her pushing me that I should get involved in Youth IGF and get to know more. This is the first time I have known about such conferences where we have awareness and where we get to put up our points and opinions as well, and where we get to know. There were a lot and yeah, that was actually very helpful in knowing that there are many more or multifold perspectives towards web, towards health, towards education, or getting to know those small environmental impact points. And so yeah, this had been quite helpful session in overall not just increasing our perspective, but also the awareness as well. What I think could also be added more to it, like the sessions were full packed and they were amazing, but what I think that there are a few more topics that we could also cover. Maybe you can cover up in the next session as well, and those can involve how how we have the social interaction or human-computer interaction that is there, and how by human-computer interaction, what I mean is not just how it is not just how it is impacting an individual or a group, but how that can be improved, or that could be changed, or how how that technology could be helped change. So yeah, that kind of interaction, if we could have a session from a person who's yeah, that could also be helpful in there. So yeah, thank you organization committee for such a wonderful session, and thanks a lot.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, Akash. We noted all your points also. So we would actually like to, I mean, I'm not saying give away awards per se, but we would like to appreciate and take note of the people who've been really active and we believe are very promising. We would just like to congratulate them. So we would like to start with our best participant, and like Raghu correctly mentioned, it's Dr. Bhatia. Thanks a lot, Abhishek Bhatia, for your insights in the chat, as well as during the entire 3-day period you did. With the questions, what happens is we all start thinking through the problem. So you did do that, and we would say that you were our best participant for Youth IGF India 2020. So congratulations on that. And
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your points and for steering the discussions. Then we would also like to thank Christy, Sunny, Ravi Kapoor, Purnima for their active participation throughout. Are you guys here?
Hi.
Yeah.
I'm Christy here. Yeah.
Hi, Christy. So I think Ravi is also here.
Hi, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Ravi is also here, and there was Purnima also. So thanks a lot, guys, for the participation and for actively participating, in fact.
Hi, thank you so much, Purnima, by the way.
Yeah, hi, Purnima. Right. So, and the best fellow, it's actually the most promising fellow. So we, those of you who are not aware of the fellowship, we've had 20 fellows join us, 20 participants join us as Youth IGF India 2020 fellows, out of which, well, it's the most promising fellow. People, the person we believe that will take it forward, and we see a lot of sustainability in terms of their contribution and engagement. And we would like to give this most promising fellow award to Raghu. Thanks a lot, Raghu. Your discussions have been wonderful, and we believe that you will take the contribution to internet governance
Thank you so much.
forward.
Truly flattered.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'd also like to mention Aishwarya and Sujay for their contribution and for their discussions throughout the event. And to also mention that the fellowship does not end today. We have a couple of days more till we could say that that the fellowship ends. But I think we can have a separate conversation. Brinda, maybe we can arrange a call with the fellow separately. I do understand you're also the fellow this time, but let's schedule a call with just a fellow. So thank you. Thanks a lot, everyone. Are there any more announcements that you'd like to make?
The feedback form for day 3.
Okay,
so
please go ahead.
Posting it. I'm pasting it on the chat. So if you could just take 2-3 minutes to fill it out. Also, we'll be emailing a feedback form for the overall event by tonight or by tomorrow maximum. And it'll be great if you could suggest, like put down your suggestion, inputs, comments on the feedback form and send it to us so that we can plan our event better next time.
Yeah, and those of you who've attended, all 3 days, we'll be mailing the certificates to all of you, including the best participant and the promising fellow certificates as well. So if you don't, receive the certificates, what you could do is you can always send us an email. We will be sending the certificates with you within the next 15 days.